everybody. Welcome to Wrestling with Fate. Today I'm here with Devin Diamond and RJ, talking to you about WrestleMania, our thoughts on it going on as planned, and just the card lineup and a few other things. So first, let's hear of one fan moment that you had as one moment that stands out to you as a fan, and one moment that stands out to you as being somebody that's doing this kind of locally here. So. Devin, let's start out with you. What moment stands out to you as a fan?
Really it's really the first memory I have of wrestling is back on Saturday Night Main Event, like 1988 is the Hogan versus Andre for the title, where they had the dual Hebners, where the fast three count where Hogan had the shoulder up and him throwing it was Earl onto Dave or vice versa. And I remember as a kid, I was like 7. I'm like, what is happening? It was just mind blowing at the time. That really kind of solidified my, this is amazing. I have to watch this more,
Okay.
I was like devastated because Hogan got screwed out of the belt, so.
And the fact that there were 2 Hebners, right?
Yeah. Like, who?
Yeah. What about you?
How much he paid for plastic surgery?
Yeah. Cloning is a real thing.
Yeah, there you go.
RJ, what about you as a fan? What fan moment sticks out for you?
True. Honestly, like as a fan, I think going to WrestleFest at Milwaukee County Stadium as a kid, I think that was probably like one of the most prominent memories I have of just being a wrestling fan. It's kind of like a really unique event, and actually have the VHS tape of it right back there. So you can actually see me and my brother and my grandfather in the standard definition VHS quality little pixel in the back, but I know it was us and everything. So that was cool. I think that my most significant wrestling fan moment though would be just watching my grandfather brought a recorded copy of WrestleMania 3 home on VHS from when they were still in the closed circuit television, where you actually had to go to a bar or something like that to watch it, where you couldn't even watch it at home yet. So I think probably a combination of those two would be my significant fan moments. So.
Okay.
Now half the people that are watching, so what's a VHS tape?
Well, here,
what's pay-per-view?
Yeah. Just for all you youngins out there, this is it.
Yeah, still in a plastic case too.
Still a nice plastic case.
So I went to most of the events, and I don't actually remember WrestleFest actually coming here. So I don't.
It was at Milwaukee County Stadium. So it was.
Okay.
It was. It
was a one-off.
Yeah. It was just a glorified house show. Sorry, I mean talk over you. It was like a glorified house show, basically.
I don't think it was a pay-per-view or anything. It was just something they did. So
yeah, just for VHS sales with Coliseum home video.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was the first time Hogan and Andre fought in a steel cage, I think they said. So
interesting.
Yes.
Not sure how I missed that one.
We're older than you, so.
For me, the fan moment. There's so many different defining moments. I was at the King of the Ring with Austin 316. That was pretty cool. I was at the one WCW pay-per-view when Sting and Luger fought in the main event. Probably had to be like 6 years old, if not younger. And
it sounds like 91 or so.
On camera. But I think the biggest fan moment I have is just I'd always get to the arena early. I'd either be myself. I'd take the city bus on down and stand outside and maybe get lucky to meet one or two of the wrestlers. Brought my brother with me, and we would do that. So that was always pretty cool. Just when they would come to town, it always, you're just a little kid and you see these guys that are bigger than life that you can imagine, and that was always pretty cool. And that's why I still do that to this day with my son and take him down there.
Nice.
So that's my fan moment. So now, as a wrestler, Devin, what kind of moment stands out from something that you've done or you've seen?
Retired wrestler. I guess really my first first memory is in my first match where I was wrestling probably 600-pound guy named Big Daddy, and this is January of 2001. And he's a big guy, and he's a nice guy, but just training and learning how to do this, and he sends me off the ropes, and he hits me with this monster of a clothesline. It's like boom, it's just like, oh, all right, this is real. Where it's it was kind of a wake up call where it's like, all right, this is gonna hurt. But at the same point in time, he wasn't doing it to be mean. That's the way he threw a clothesline, was he just followed through, made it look good. So really that was my first real memory of it. And then really kind of my favorite memory is probably having well, realistically, I'm gonna sound like I'm pandering, but having some of those brawls we had where we in the at the Legion Hall where we did the rock bottom onto the picnic table, and
I remember that.
And we flattened it, and the promoter at the time was very upset with us, I think. And
yeah, we kind of had a tendency to go off the cuff sometimes and get ourselves into trouble. So
yes, that was fun though. I liked it. So
least of my worries.
Yeah, at the time it felt like the end of the world, and now you realize it's just irrelevant.
Here we are.
So RJ, as a promoter, and you've been doing this for almost 20 years now, what is your favorite moment?
Oh boy, favorite moment.
Least stressful moment.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't really pinpoint it down to one specific thing. I think that just the whole experience in general of being involved in wrestling and everything, it's just there would be too many different things to point to. It would be weird not to say the first show that we did, even though it's probably like my cringiest moment. Then it's like where the 100th show that we just did a couple years back was amazing. I mean, I guess if I had to say one thing that was like, if I could go back and relive and just do over and over, I think it would probably be that Headlock and Hunger 4 or 5 that we did down in Kenosha, 500 kids, in a school or school gymnasium, and just kind of having that different experience that we didn't have from going from like 50-person crowds to a 500-person crowd, and just recapturing that moment. I think that's probably I guess, there's so many different things that I look back at fondly, but I think that if I would have to put myself in my shoes and go back and experience one thing again, that was just such an eye-opening moment. And just sitting backstage, getting caught up in the moment when everything was going on, just because those kids were so into it and everything. And then of course there was the one where it was like negative 12 degrees out, and Devin, I don't think you were there at that one, but somebody holding their kid and pulled the fire alarm, and it's like negative 10 out, and everybody had to leave, and 500 people had to leave the gymnasium and come back in because it was a false alarm. So,
I was there. We had to wait outside for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I would probably go with I would say probably the Headlock and Hunger 5 event that we did was probably like that moment, So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if I can supplement real quick, working for SSW at the time, one of my highlights is headbutting Colt Cabana in a battle royal, so that was kind of cool. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I could always go back to the. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I could always go back to the whole moment that started it all, when I got forearmed in the chest from Beer City Bruiser, and set me down a whole different path when I wanted to be a wrestler, and decided, nope, this ain't for me. And here we are 20 years later running our own stuff. So.
Yeah. So, my favorite moment, there's a lot of different moments that stand out. I know back in 2012 when I hung up the boots and you were so nice to, bring the ring, and I was able to do that. You guys can see that here on this YouTube channel, and do that for my son's 6th birthday, and just kind of hanging up the boots. And at that time I was done. I wasn't getting back in the ring. I had no desire to do it anymore. It just, but so that was a really cool moment to wrestle my brother here at the house, and in front of the family, in front of the friends. So that was pretty cool. And then, 5 years later, you call me for the 100th show. was like, okay, I don't want to be one of those guys that say, hey, I'm done, and then they come back. But then I came back for the one show, and it was awesome. It was pretty cool. And seeing the level of talent that was there that wasn't there 5 years ago, I mean, night and day. And seeing people, Ryan Cross, I mean, top guy, Vic Capri, top guy, William Jacobs. I'm just like, wow, this is some real talent. And when I left, it's not saying much. I feel like I was probably on the top half of the talent and not on the bottom half of the talent. And coming back at that 100 show, I'm like, oh my God, can I even lace up my boots next to these guys? These guys are ginormous guys and really talented. And
it's intimidating, you know.
it is very intimidating. And I was like, wow, okay. So being able to come back and have some really good matches and, you know, being able to, you know, wear the strap one more time, that's pretty cool. But more importantly, to be able to do it with my son there at every show, that's pretty cool. And when I won the belt, I had a line of my family members that wanted to talk to me, and then I had a line of fans that wanted to take pictures with me and with the belt. And to be honest, seeing those kids' face and making those moments and having the fans come up to me and, hey, can I buy a shirt? Can I buy this? Can I buy that? You know, look, I just love it. I love interacting with the fans, you know, and
somebody coming up to you and say, hey, can I buy a shirt when you're not working at Target, right? So
exactly. I'm not working at Target. Yeah, you know,
I'm glad you got to experience that. I never got it, so I made all sorts of SSW stuff, and they just sit. So,
but yeah, you know, just having fans come up and go, hey, can I pay you to take a picture with you and sign an autograph? Look, I'm never going to charge you to take a picture with me or sign an autograph. So, and just seeing people walk out and have those moments that I cherish, you know, with my family and my friends, and being able to do that with the fans and stuff. So all of that's really my moment. Mm-hmm. But they didn't come here to hear us talk about our glory days. So they, you know, want to know about WrestleMania, our thoughts on WrestleMania. So
they've already clicked off the video by now.
Yeah, they probably, yeah, or fast forwarded, you know. So, you know, whatever.
Got to have a pretty enticing thumbnail to get past here. So.
Yeah,
lots of cleavage. So.
There we go. So
on to the main event.
on to the big show here. So, what's everybody's thoughts on the show actually going on? You know, as not getting postponed, not getting canceled.
Do I have to censor myself or
uncensored live?
Oh, there we go. Someone should have turned it off there.
Yeah. Well, if I could just jump in real quick, because I know that we've talked about it before on that. I think this is the year without a WrestleMania, to be honest. I guess I can kind of commend them for trying to keep pushing through, but with everything going on in the world right now and stuff, it just kind of seems like, I don't know, a WrestleMania is, they're just doing WrestleMania for WrestleMania's sake, and I don't know why. I think that this just, if you can't do WrestleMania and make it WrestleMania, it shouldn't be WrestleMania. So I don't know. It feels weird, and it feels like it's going to be the year without a WrestleMania, even though technically we'll be on the books, because it's just not going to be WrestleMania. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, when they first did the first episode at the Performance Center, and there's no crowd, and I remember I was watching, you know, Sasha Banks and Bayley coming out, and they're like playing the crowd. It's like there's nobody there. It's like, it was cringy. Like, I'm like, I had to turn it off because I was just so embarrassed by it. It's like these guys work, you know, 200 plus days a year, and you know, it's realistically, what's wrong with taking some time off, letting these people be at home with their families, and just let it pass? You know what I mean? You know, we're not supposed to say the words, you know, what's going on right now, because YouTube doesn't like that. But, you know, it's like, let's just,
the beer flu.
The card is, yeah, exactly. The beer, you know, and the card looks good, but it's like, you know, if Drew McIntyre wins the belt, which it's gonna be like,
spoilers.
I mean, but if he does, but I'm like, there's nobody here. You know, it's gonna really flatten the moment. And that's just my opinion.
I'm gonna take the other approach on this. I actually think at first, with that whole Bayley, that was awful, and I'm glad to see that they've kind of changed up their production over the last couple of weeks and shot it from a different angle, took out the empty chairs, put the LED screens in. I do like that they're going to be filming from multiple locations, so you don't have to all just have that empty performance center. I think do the show and then kind of put everything on hold, and then come back and, maybe do a roster shake up the first, episode back or something, and just start afresh. I think that people at home, what else do they have to do? You're giving them some entertainment.
I think what surprises me on that too is the fact that it's like, I understand what you're saying completely, but the fact that they're also making it 2 nights and both nights are a separate price. Like it feels like desperation to some degree. And it's like, I could see them doing WrestleMania in 1 night, but then making it a whole 2-night thing and charging separately for both of them. I don't know. It feels like you're dragging it out longer than it needs to be.
That was actually going to be my next thing we were going to chit chat about, is the whole 2-night thing. My personal belief is I actually like the 2 nights. Sometimes when you're watching WrestleMania and it's going 7-8 hours, you're like,
that was rough last year. I was like, by the end, I'm like, oh, can this just end?
Right. So when you split it up over 2 nights, what I would like to see them do is maybe take out the NXT show, and then maybe WrestleMania should have all 3 brands represented on there. So kind of incorporate the NXT matches, some NXT matches in WrestleMania. Keep it as the 2 nights is how I would probably do that in the future.
Yeah. I mean, obviously if this was a normal WrestleMania, but this is extenuating circumstances at best, and it's like, I just, like I said, I feel bad for guys like Drew McIntyre, and now Braun Strowman, who's, being put into the Universal title match. It's like, even on that, you think about it, Roman Reigns had to pull out of fear of getting sick because of what's going on. It's like,
not the only one either.
Yeah, but that's like the big title match. I mean, there's other main events like Undertaker and AJ Styles, but it's like, usually in my mind, the main events are the title matches. And that's already been changed like a week from the show. It's just like, and let's be honest, we know why this is happening, because of the shareholders. They need that injection of cash, but it's like, I do think if they're so adamant on doing the show, I agree. It's like, do the show, then take some time off here, let people recuperate, let's get through this. And they have, probably close to tens of thousands of hours of content they could put on Raw. Do a best of Raw series or something, on the
they could have done WrestleMania as that, just do like the 10 best WrestleMania matches ever, and that's what take the place of WrestleMania this year or something, just do something,
bump all these matches to SummerSlam, or
make SummerSlam WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. Just
I think with the whole, hey, some people have to drop out and matches switch up, it kind of gives that, it shakes things up enough, where WWE is so, hey, they have their stuff planned out months ahead, and when you kind of throw them a curveball like this, it's kind of refreshing. I mean, AEW, I can watch it, and sometimes I might not see where it's going. It's like, oh, okay, cool, it's new, it's refreshing. So this is, I don't know, I take the opposite.
It is different, I'll give you that. So
yeah.
Okay, and then
that was our tagline. That was our tagline, it being something different. I should appreciate it more than I do.
So now, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on the signing of Gronk and having him host WrestleMania. Does that do anything for you guys? Because for me, it does nothing.
Who?
Exactly. I think if you're gonna have a host for WrestleMania, I get it. I get why they're doing it for the Fox and stuff like that.
I thought Gronk was a Muppet at first. So.
I just hope he brings Rocket Raccoon with him. So.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen him when he was on TV. I don't know if it was
his debut where he was like dancing like an idiot. Yeah.
And then he had Mojo with him, and I'm like, come on, really? This is.
Does WrestleMania really need a host this year?
It really doesn't need a host.
Watching the two of them in the ring with no crowd kind of reminded me watching like 2 toddlers that had an entire room to themselves and were just entertaining themselves.
Okay, yeah. So I think we're all on the same.
It's a name, but it's like, you could bring in Snooki or whatever and have her be a host. It wouldn't.
They got a headline on ESPN over it, so.
Yeah, that's
why I believe that's why they did it. So, okay.
Which is kind of sad if you think about that. He's going to make more money than probably half the people with the company in a year. He's going to just show up and talk. That's kind of depressing too.
Well, they need
the
someone
roster,
for the Celebrity Hall of Fame in a couple of years. So
Yeah.
I think they put everybody in already.
So, and then the last little thing before we start getting into the matches themselves, I understand why they had to cancel the Andre Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Totally understandable.
It's hard to social distance.
Right. For me, though, it was one of those things. I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm just a Battle Royal guy. I like the Battle Royals. So that one, to me, is going to be missed. But I do understand why. It's definitely the right decision. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the Andre Battle Royal? Do you guys look forward to it every year like I do? Or
the cynic in me is kind of like, does the Battle Royal even do anything for them in their career? It seems like everybody who wins the Battle Royal gets de-pushed. I mean, really, you think back to WrestleMania 4, where Bret Hart and Bad News Brown, both won the match and shared the trophy, and then the big turn there where you hit him with the ghetto blaster and knocked him out of the ring. I mean, it's like, you can't always have that moment, where it just feels like a way to get everybody on the card.
Oh yeah, and give them some of that, part of that WrestleMania payday.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's nice to have that experience, but it's like, it's cool,
I think what they should do is turn it into a ladder match. Just have 30 people trying to
Money in the Bank.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's cool, but at the same point, I think like it was cool the first time they did it. But does it need to be every WrestleMania? It's like, I don't know. It kind of wore out its welcome to me. Like they could do something, but
like the winner gets an IC or US title shot or something. It would mean more. Like it's kind of like a way for the undercarders to kind of climb the rungs a little bit. But it is kind of meaningless.
I mean, you got to think forward too. How many great wrestlers and stuff that eventually will pass away down the line? I mean, like probably the big one is going to be Hulk Hogan someday. What are they going to do for him? You know what I mean? Because it's like they're just keeping Andre's name alive, but you're going to get to a point in time in the future where so many great wrestlers have passed away. It's like, how are you shining a spotlight on just one versus, or maybe every year you use that battle royal and you honor someone instead of just the same guy every year. I mean, I don't know. It feels like they turned it into a throwaway match, which is what it was supposed to be. So
it's the Hulk Hogan, hidden camera promo of the week, or the Chris Benoit Ultimate Submission match. It's like,
yeah, I was kind of crazy when I went through. Like, okay. Do you think there's going to be any surprising appearances? Do you waste that on a WrestleMania that has no fans?
I mean, that's the other thing too. I feel bad. Edge is making his return at this. It's like, it's kind of,
yeah.
But I don't think there'll be any real major surprises. Maybe a run-in, but
yeah, I mean, there's talks like, hey, is Ronda gonna come back and interfere with the Baszler match and help her win? And like, do you even waste something like that on the WrestleMania with no fans? I mean, we're not gonna get CM Punk,
WrestleMania. So, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
I think the one thing we can learn from this situation is that I think people now in general have it's front and center now how important fans are to wrestling. Like you can see now why it doesn't work. I mean, we can honestly say that now even the worst SSW show at one point in time has had more crowd than WWE has right now, which is ridiculous to say because we know when you have two people sitting in the crowd, how terrible that show feels. And to do that every single day and try and cover it up with commentary, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know why they just don't like get the crew or something like that to sit in the crowd 6 feet apart or something just to get some reactions. I mean, 10 people would make a world of difference in the crowd.
I mean, it works for AEW. I mean, having the wrestlers just out there just a little bit, gives something so the wrestlers have something to interact with and kind of so I do think
put 500 monitors out in the crowd and just have people sitting at home and Skype watching it. At least you would get some crowd reaction.
That would be interesting, actually.
Demolition Man style with just all the little
kiosks
out there.
Have Vince McMahon be the only person in the crowd. Suplex him, damn it! Kick him in the face. Make
All right, I
him
think
Okay.
that's a good point. We'll get to the
On to
card.
the matches.
You know, we're not sure which matches are going to be on Saturday and which matches are going to be on Sunday, so we'll just kind of to take it from here. So the first one that we'll talk about is Otis versus Ziggler. Who has some thoughts on that one?
Devin, go ahead.
I mean, it's been over for the affections of Mandy Rose. I mean, it's kind of like it's nice that Otis kind of gets to show off his character a little bit on a big stage with no people at it. But I think realistically they are going to keep it going, and I think Dolph Ziggler is going to get the screw job win somehow. I think this angle is probably going to keep going because for some reason lately they love the weird love triangle angles.
I don't mind the angle, and I think yesterday on SmackDown kind of helped the angle that I feel is kind of getting a little stale, kind of move it forward with everything being revealed and, Mandy Rose walking off and what's up with Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool. But the one thing I don't like is, man, they are making Otis look just sloppy. I mean, he's coming out with his hair all jacked up, and I swear he's put on like 50 pounds. I mean, he used to be kind of a big dude, but firm, and now he's just kind of.
That's what happens to anybody that finds the love of their life.
You get comfortable. Yeah.
So
you let yourself go. Sorry.
Probably
I feel
for me,
personally attacked.
Probably not going to be the worst match on the card. I kind of interested in this one and kind of seeing what they can do. So if they do it right, but
yeah,
no.
Yeah. My guess is going to be, I think at I haven't really paid too close attention to what's going on with that, but the only WWE never does the happy ending thing. So when you mentioned about having like the whole like screw job finish or whatever, like more than likely it's I agree with that one way or another. It's not going to end well for Otis. However,
Otis is going to get his happy ending. Look at how it ended for Zack Ryder. That he didn't ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Well,
that catering.
And then she has to choose between Otis and Ziggler.
See, up until yesterday, I thought she was going to end up with Sonya Deville, kind of do a little swerve angle there, and like, hey.
Oh, I could see it.
But after yesterday, I'm like, I don't know if that's going to be the route they necessarily go now. So,
yeah.
Especially if I don't know if that's the first match or not, but if you got all the families at home watching wrestling, and then you turn that corner real quick, people are like,
I spent $60 on this.
Yeah. So the next one, I guess we'll talk about. I don't have it in the same order that you have it in, Devin. What's the next one that you have on your list?
I'm on the Wikipedia page, and it says I'm going from the bottom up, kind of like the least important matches. The Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship is the next match they have listed. Kabuki Warriors are defending the belts against Bliss Cross. So
okay. RJ, you look like you are not interested in that match. You're like, whatever.
I think they're just going to retain. I don't know. I have a hard time believing they're going to do a lot of significant title changes right now, with the possibility of after WrestleMania that they're going to even not be able to do shows. I think, I don't know. I mean, I know that we're being told to the contrary, but I think that they're going to probably end up having to go on hiatus and not even be able to do shows. So I don't know. I think if it comes to anything significant, I have a feeling it's going to be more of the same. I would say I'm probably just expecting them to retain. I don't see any reason why you would move the title and have no crowd reaction or whatever. That's a match you could just do again, 3 months from now when everything's back to normal, if we ever get to that point, and then just do the match again and move the titles if that's what the plan was. So.
Well, what about you, Devin? You agree with that, or?
I think because I think WWE has such faith in Alexa Bliss, and watching Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are pretty fun interactions. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to switch the titles, especially if kind of depending how the order goes. But I think, I think they're going to do a little shaking up with the show and mix things up a little bit. That'd be my guess. I think And that's the thing too. You know, American crowds I think kind of more gravitate towards Alexa Bliss because she's she's a blonde, cute girl. You know, and Nikki Cross is her weird psycho friend, and
It always ends well.
she's a merchandise mover.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. So I hate that I think of wrestling like this, and I wish I could just be a fan again. But I'm always thinking about the backstage element. That's the one worst thing about getting into pro wrestling is you just stop analyzing it like a fan. You start analyzing it like a wrestler or a producer.
Yeah, but the reality is, then as a fan, you're gonna excuse me. As a fan, you'll get disappointed because you're not going to get to see what you want.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I would agree with Devin here. I think Bliss and Cross walk away with it. It's with the Kabuki Warriors, they haven't really been featured all that prominent in the last couple months, and Bliss and Cross is on pretty much most weeks, and I just think that they would, as much as I like the Kabuki Warriors, I think it's definitely going to be a Bliss and Cross are going to walk away with that the belt. So, all right, and then
if I may interject real quick too, but also promo wise. The Kabuki Warriors a little broken English, a little bit more harder to understand, I guess you could say, than Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Just from entertainment, because that's the thing too right now is it's doubly down on entertainment. There's more promos. There's a lot more talking now.
Well, because the backstage promos actually look normal and the matches don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's
just
if
my
I turn
opinion.
out to be right on this one, the only reason I'd be right is because they're going to drop the belts to them when things get back to normal.
It's very possible. So.
Yeah. If this were a normal WrestleMania, I'd be right with you guys.
Asuka screaming and we can't understand what she's saying. It just doesn't work. I don't think it really works all that much. What is interesting though is because I do follow her on YouTube, and it's like night and day. Like she is like complete opposite on her YouTube channel. So,
and I bet if I wanted to watch Screaming Asians, I would be going to WWE. So, boom, boom.
All right, what
pornography joke for you, Dan?
All right, what match do you have next?
You said a bad word there. So
I did. Sorry. You're demonetized now, Dennis.
No.
Oh, shoot. I said the name. Fate. And edit.
Edit. All right.
Put a spotlight on it while you're at it.
Yeah, right. All right. Anyways. Host.
Oh, what's the next one you have on your?
All right, next up listed is Sami Zayn defending the Intercontinental Championship against Daniel Bryan.
Okay, I'll start off on this one.
You okay there, Arch?
I'm good.
As good as Daniel Bryan is, and as good as Sami Zayn is, I mean, it's really hard to have a build-up. With that, this match does absolutely nothing for me, which sucks because Zayn finally has the belt. I do like his little stable that he has going on, but this match,
and Nakamura,
yeah, it really does nothing for me. And to be honest, I would like to see Sami Zayn walk out of the WrestleMania retaining the belt. I mean, Bryan's good, but I don't know. I'm over it. I'm over him.
It's a solid mid-card match. It's going to be a good wrestling match. It's not going to do much to move a storyline. I agree. I think the belt stays on Sami just because he's had it for a short time, and Daniel Bryan doesn't need it.
No, yeah,
Sami Zayn needs it more.
Yeah,
I really don't have anything to add because you guys both said what I was thinking. Daniel Bryan doesn't need the belt. It's kind of a step back for him being a multiple-time world champion, I think. And Sami Zayn, it's like his character has floundered for so long that at least giving him a title belt to work, feuds around, doesn't make any sense to take the belt off of him. So they probably will.
I think he needs the win. I think he needs the win over Bryan just to kind of help him, establish as a true champ. So, okay, what's the next one on the list?
All right, next match is the return of Edge against Randy Orton in a last man standing match.
That's the next one on the list, huh? Okay.
It doesn't have a title, so it's, lower. I wouldn't say it's lower on the card, but it's just lower on the list. So
yeah, for me, I would.
I didn't write it, man.
I'm sure this isn't alphabetical. We went from A to E.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. I think the build-up for this has been pretty good. I mean, it's actually one of the matches I'm probably looking forward to the most. So not just because I thought, hey, it's Edge, he's kind of finally making his comeback, but Orton has done a great job of selling this match for the last, since the Royal Rumble. So, RKOing Beth Phoenix, and she just hit like a ton of bricks. That was, and the promos that they've been doing back and forth have been some of the best promos that we've seen in a while. So,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Well, I think Edge now proves that a middle-aged man can bring grunge back and make it look cool. He doesn't look really, other than just being a little bit older, doesn't really look much different than when he was doing this at the turn of the century, which sounds kind of weird to say, but it is what it is. But I don't know. I don't see there's any way you can book this and have Edge lose. It does nothing. No crowd, probably lowest buy rates ever, the way things are looking and things like that, and then have Edge return and lose. There's really,
it is a last man standing match, so
yeah,
there could be some sort of twist there.
Well, clearly they're going to wrestle around wherever they're going to be filming this. Yeah, so it's not going to be in the ring, and I think that's going to make this look a lot better, especially looking back on it. The only way I see Edge losing if they do something crazy with Orton, like throw him in a limo and it explodes or something like that. Because at this point they got to do something to get some shock value. That's the only thing I could see him doing. Edge, it doesn't take anything away from Edge. Orton doesn't need the win. I don't know. It's confusing, but I don't see you bring Edge back and then have him lose. But again, like I said, they'd probably end up doing that. So I don't know. I can't call this one either way. But if I had to say right now, I say Edge goes over. It doesn't make sense otherwise. So
Okay.
I would think by bringing Edge back just to have him lose makes zero sense. Randy Orton, I don't think he'd even allow that to happen because they're good friends and stuff like that. And it's like he doesn't lose anything by losing this match. He doesn't have a belt. He doesn't have, he's obviously motivated because he's having fun. He's not on autopilot. You can kind of tell when he's kind of just going with the flow. The only way I see Edge losing is if they did some shenanigans with Jeff Hardy or Christian coming and cost him the match. That's really the only way I could see it happening. But realistically, I do hope. I'm a little leery because Edge, does have those issues in the past with his injuries. I just hope it's a thing where it's like, did this really need to happen? But I have a feeling I'll be very wrong where he's still got it, But at the same point,
well, here's what happens. Neither of them win. Orton RKO's him off the roof of a building, and they both go over the edge, and they end the match.
So you're saying Edge goes over?
I could see them ending that as they both can't answer the 10 count and then do it later on down the line at SummerSlam or Survivor Series. If they don't do something like that, I would actually like to see Orton over Edge. But again, so that they can do it down the road at SummerSlam or Survivor Series and kind of have a big payoff there. So.
Sure.
This feels like the WrestleMania that's just going to forward storylines more than ever.
Yeah. I disagree with that because I think Edge is kind of coming back on a farewell tour where I think he's not going to work people more than once. I think he's probably going to be working Seth Rollins after this or something, where I think this will be but seriously, it's going to be I think it's going to be a one and done. I just, my gut says that because he even said he doesn't know how much time he has left and he's going to want to get as much in there as he can. Just my opinion. So
it'll be a one and done if you work Seth Rollins. So.
All right.
Like the guy, but
you broke his face.
Yeah, he has put a few people on the shelf. So, okay.
So
and Wikipedia has what?
What?
You've got a few people on the shelf back there too, Dennis. So.
That's true.
Dennis, I said it again.
Oh,
anyways,
man.
Moving on.
Dennis.
All right. Anyways, what's next on the Wikipedia lineup?
Elias versus King Corbin in a singles match. Sure. Why not?
It was up until they did that little angle last week, and Corbin knocked him off that staging. I was like, oh, okay, the storyline's gaining a little steam. I think they're both good workers, but Corbin has a good gimmick, but that gimmick's been done time and time again.
And the King.
I like his whole little Game of Thrones spin on it, but he just doesn't have that it factor. I think
he's a good mid-card heel.
Right.
I mean,
and Elias has the look, but
yes.
again, he's kind of in that same as Corbin. It's like
King Corbin is the Iron Mike Sharp of this generation.
I'm just gonna laugh and chuckle like I actually know
because he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I have no clue, none at all.
So back in the late '80s, there was these things called jobbers, and one of them was Iron Mike Sharp, and there was a few other guys, but Iron Mike Sharp is the one that really sticks out to me. And this match kind of I remember going to one of the house shows in Milwaukee, and it was like at the Mecca Auditorium or something like that. And for some reason, I was really happy to see it because I think they had like Iron Mike Sharp versus Sam Houston, because they were two guys. Back then they always did like the name and the jobber. So it was like Hulk Hogan would wrestle and you take on somebody that was a throwaway match, and you'd have Macho Man take on somebody throwaway match. This to me is feels like that type of match where it's like, I know that they've both been around and everything like it, but it's like Iron Mike Sharp versus Sam Houston. And for some reason, it's kind of like nobody really cares about either. There's two people, so it'll probably be a good match. But yeah, I don't know. I'm maybe just out of touch with these guys right now, but it just feels like kind of like a jobber versus jobber match, to be honest. So
if you have Corbin win, it does nothing for him, and if you have him lose, it just hurts him. And but I think that they've been pushing. When you have that feud that was awesome with Roman Reigns, and then you go on to this, it's like, okay, you kind of gave him that light, and now you're kind of taking it away by giving him Elias. So what are they really trying to accomplish here? Are they trying to get Elias over? But then you're going to be sacrificing Corbin off of that. So,
well, Elias is just that funny guy that roams around that every 2 or 3 years they replace with someone else. I mean, you've had Simon Dean, you've had all these
Santino,
Santino, and all these guys. They last about 3 years, they're comic relief, and they move on to somebody else. And the thing that I don't know what it is about Corbin, but I mean, he's been around for 5, I don't know how many years, but he's going to be one of those guys that's probably going to have a 15-year career, and nothing's really going to stand out. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just the way that it's something that takes me out of his matches is when he's wrestling in a shirt and pants. I don't know what it is about that. It just kind of throws it. It's like this guy is, who are the guys that around the 2000s that were always wrestling in a shirt and pants, and they amounted to absolutely nothing. They were security guards.
Deuce and Domino, I think. Is that who it was?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Exactly.
So, yeah, exactly. They had the 50s gimmick where they're
guys?
Yeah.
So if somebody's watching this and they know who those guys are, comment below.
Comment below.
I actually remember those guys, but I was thinking of someone else. But the fact that you guys don't even know who I'm talking about is exactly my point. So
yeah. Okay. So I think Corbin goes over on that one. So
yeah, I think that's a safe bet. I mean, it's there for not that I dislike the guy, but for some reason he's just on this pretty much winning streak. With the exception of Reigns. It's like he kind of wins a lot of matches that just. He gets good heat. He gets good heat. That's the big thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he put out Kurt Angle. So how would you have Elias?
They keep giving him the shot, and then it's this game with him. So
yeah,
he's reliable and consistent. That's the big thing.
Yeah,
you know what you're getting from him. So
yeah. All right, next one on the list:
Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley with Lana. Singles match.
I was so big on Aleister Black NXT, and then I just think he's like one of the, like most of the other guys with the call-ups. They're just not really.
Please give appreciation to Mr. Black from Simpsons. I just whenever I hear his name, I think of that from the video with Rusty. Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I can envision a chuckle from Vic the Stick right there.
So Black. Yeah, I don't know. I think they've been pushing him, but again, he's got the look to it, but neither one of them had charisma. I mean, the most charisma, to be honest, I've seen from Bobby Lashley is the one time I did security for WWE, and he came running to the back, said, "I'm not going out there unless I get my pedicure. Where are they?" That's the most charisma I've ever seen from Bobby Lashley. So,
Was he
True story.
this is a true story.
Was he serious?
He was dead serious. He refused to go out there. He's like, "I'm not going out there. Someone get the person to do my nails and stuff. It ain't happening." So that's
When I hold the mic, I don't want anybody to
yeah, that was
see my hangnail.
yeah. I just stood back to like, okie dokie, sure, whatever. And I mean, he has no charisma. He's got the look. He's got some talent, but neither one of these guys have charisma. But I would say, I mean, I don't even know who goes over on this one. I'm assuming Black goes over.
Yeah, be Aleister Black, in my opinion. I think they're trying to keep him with that semi-supernatural factor. I could see him taking on Undertaker next year or something like that. So I think Aleister Black's going to go over.
Wow, you're giving him a lot of credit. I know they're trying to build him Undertaker next year.
Well,
he can move merchandise.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that does.
I mean, that kick that kick is awesome.
Yeah.
It's convincing. So
anybody that usually does a semi-creepy gimmick and wears all black usually ends up wrestling the Undertaker. So
Mordecai. Ooh. Excuse me.
Well, that was all white, but
it was.
Shawn Michaels got that rub later.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I guess my only thing I would say about it is I watched What Culture's take on that, and like the guy goes, I'm predicting Aleister Black to come out and beat Lashley in 5 seconds because nobody will expect it, and it's the only thing that would make any talk of that match. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of like a throwaway match. So I don't know. Yeah. Lashley seems like 15 years ago was his time. So
yeah, it's all about that charisma. If you don't have that charisma, you're just going to kind of, flounder.
He's a good wrestler, but it's just kind of like he kind of looks like a baby that just hit steroids and just grew up real quick. I mean, he doesn't look like there's a hair on his body. It's weird.
Now we know why.
Kind of creepy.
Now we know why. Okay, so
he creeps me out. I don't know why.
all I know is I bet Seth Rollins is kind of unhappy that Aleister Black got to keep his name.
Yeah.
Because he used to be Tyler Black, so.
Yeah. All right, what does Wikipedia have next?
All right, next match listed is the Street Profits defending the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship against Austin Theory and Angel Garza.
Who?
Yeah, Angel Garza.
Yeah, I heard Austin Theory. I guess he's a pretty big independent. Before he. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Sounds like a band I used to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not too familiar with Austin Theory's work. So
Austin Theory with Rage Against the Machine, and
Austin Theory with that man.
So Street Profits.
I love when the jokes create silence.
Yeah.
Cricket. Yeah, Street Profits probably retain. It's kind of a throwaway match. I mean, I admit I haven't been following this as closely as I normally would, just because of everything going on. And on paper, it looks like something like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
16 matches is hard to keep track of.
The most interesting thing about Austin Theory and Angel Garza is, their manager is Lena Vega. So other than that, I don't know. I'm actually a fan of Lena Vega. I think she's a pretty good manager. So. Other than that, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a big feud around this? Is there anything major to go? I think you just go for the crowd pop, but that's out the window. So,
Bathroom break. Okay.
Yeah, probably. Realistically.
Yeah. Probably a show opener one of the nights.
And I think that's going to be a short one, too. It's going to be like a 5-minute match. It'll be, hey, we're on the card.
6 minutes of entrances and 2 minutes of match, and then 3 minutes of
promo video for the next match.
Yeah. All right, Wiki has what next?
The Miz and John Morrison defend the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships against the New Day, consisting of Big E and Kofi, versus the Usos in a triple threat ladder match.
I already think that's not happening, right?
No, we do know that Miz is out because he was feeling a little ill. It doesn't look like he had the virus, but they did keep him out of that match. So it looks like that match is going to continue. I'm not sure if it's still going to be a ladder match, but it's just going to be a triple threat match for the tag team titles.
Okay.
Now, would you guys book it that way, or would you have just found a replacement for Morrison?
Well, if I could jump
Miz,
in, I would say
right?
a ladder match doesn't make any sense with no crowd. I mean, like, you're going to have all these big pops and that nobody's going to be there for. So, like, you're putting guys in a lot of danger, I guess, to do things that really, like, you're not going to get any reaction off of. And it's going to be awkward because they're not going to have that. Like, a lot of times you see the guys laying around because the crowd's on their feet roaring for 30 seconds and they're waiting for the crowd to calm down. So you're going to have the guys after a big move off of the ladder rolling around in the middle of the ring with no reaction and the commentary having to cover for them. It's going to be awkward. I think that's just a bad idea. Like, hopefully they've just said on that. So
like Peter Griffin.
Pretty much.
So would you keep it as a triple threat match or a singles match, or would you find a new partner for Morrison as like a one night only, or would you have him go out there by himself and go against the other four?
Me personally, I would mix it up and say, for the first time ever, the SmackDown tag titles are going to be defended in a triple threat singles match.
Okay, that's what it looks like that they're doing.
They could, I mean, they could lead that to, like, let's say, something happens, a mistake is made by his partner, and he loses both belts for a guy. You got a storyline going there.
Yeah, but doesn't that contradict WrestleMania a couple of years ago from basically saying if you don't have a partner, you can't defend the belt? So Strowman had to go out into the crowd and grab a kid.
There you go. They'll bring Nicholas back.
Or fight for the belt.
He's off of school right now, so
that's true.
He's available. So
I have no idea what they're gonna do. They'll probably do
singles.
Oh yeah, sub. Honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I have a feeling the Usos are walking out with the tag titles because for some reason they always put the belts on them. I mean, and I don't mean to be insulting, but with their outside the ring issues, I don't think they should be anywhere near the tag titles. They should.
Okay. Just because I don't know, is Jeff Hardy actually still in WWE, or does he?
Yeah, he just made a return recently.
He made a return.
That would be a good point.
There you go.
Yeah,
so
that would be pretty interesting.
But Miz and Morrison are heels, though, right?
Yeah. So what? It's WrestleMania. There's not a crowd.
Yeah.
You can kind of get away with some stuff.
What's Joey Mercury doing?
Yeah.
Hey, he just left Ring of Honor.
Okay, that'd be interesting. All right. Well,
I think he's retired though. But
then Morrison turns after they lose on whoever he teams with, so you have a future feud later. So
that would actually. I haven't given that any thought. That's an interesting way to do that. But if they do it as the triple threat singles match, I would like to see Morrison win. I'm a fan of Morrison. From Lucha Underground and everything else that he's done. His time
Morrison,
on Survivor,
Mundo,
awesome.
Nitro, whatever he's been called.
Johnny Impact.
Impact.
Have you guys seen him on Survivor?
I have not. No.
He was on a season of Survivor, so me and Ian watch Survivor. That was pretty awesome. Like, oh, dude, if I was on the island, that would be.
Was Miz on too? Because he's like on every year. Everything.
No. Miz is on the challenge. Which I also watch, by the way, new season. So I would like to see Morrison. I don't like that they put him in the tag team, but I get it. I think he's such a talent and kind of underrated. I mean, he can do a lot of cool things. So
they have a history together too.
They do have a history.
Morrison probably wanted to do it too, because he probably had a good time with them, and it's nostalgia. 10 years ago together.
When Vince tried to basically go, hey, you should look like an old 70s rock singer. He was doomed from the start.
Okay. Yeah, but that's the most over he's been. That angle works. The name is garbage, but he made it work,
Yeah, Yeah.
No, a good wrestler will take whatever you're given and make the best of it, and that's the thing. But like, I think he was hamstrung from the start by. I'm assuming that came straight from Vince. You know, like we'll call you John Morrison because we'll make you look like you're part of the Doors, and it's like, wow, that was like his most creative moment ever. So.
Well, it's Dolph Ziggler though too. He's been hamstrung with that name since he started. You know.
Yeah, but he made it work too.
He
so
did.
It's there's other people. We probably have like a list a mile long of people that have been given terrible gimmicks that didn't make it work. So at least they're still around.
Ziggler, I really don't mind his name. I would probably prefer that he does something else besides just being a complete and utter budget ripoff of Shawn Michaels. But whatever. All right, so I guess we covered that match. What does Wikipedia have?
Next up, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins.
Oh man, they really have been pushing that build up for this match. I think Kevin Owens is awesome. The Monday Night Messiah thing works for Seth Rollins, but I'm over Seth. I mean, this has potential for being a good match, and it really does nothing for me.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think Rollins is going to go over just because he's kind of,
the guy right now.
Yeah, he's one of the guys, and I mean, let's be honest, Vince doesn't really like guys who don't have bodies, and Owens is not muscular. He's got a dad bod.
Sure. I mean, he might not have, but what he has though, I mean, his in-ring ability is just awesome. His mic skills are awesome. And so what? He doesn't fit that mold, and I don't think everybody.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying from a 70-something-year-old man, he's got to be ripped.
Well, one thing going forward too, and I think a lot of people might be overlooking is who does WWE want front and center after this is all said and done? You know what I mean? Like, if they're going to have a big return, if they do have to go on hiatus, or they need to start, pubbing for future events and things like that, you got to think of like, what are all the champions going to look like? What are all the posters going to look like, and things like that? And do they want a roster full of guys that like that? Just think of it this way: if they're trying to make things work with like Fox Sports and ESPN and things like that, and then nothing against Owens, but filling up their time on the air with guys that then people sit at home and go, how is that guy a legitimate fighter or a legit, what I mean? Because a lot of people like don't know, what I mean? It's like you're trying to kind of pitch something as a sport when we all know what it really is. It's entertainment, but at the same point in time, like they still want to get that keep up appearances, I guess, if you want to say. And if you're going into, you look at all these, I'm not saying any wrestler out there isn't an athlete. It's a whole different thing, but I'm saying like sports athletes and stuff like that, what people expect them to look like and things like that. And then you have WWE, they're going to want to keep up with that. So I agree with what Devin says is that, it's kind of like, I think probably more so now than ever, they're going to really look at appearances and say, I think the two things they're going to want going forward is good appearances and international appeal. Because the thing is if they can't run shows here in the US or something, but like Japan decides to say, hey, we got this, or, they can go over to the Middle East because they're not having the lockdowns and stuff like that. They're going to want international appeal, and they're going to want legitimacy. And it's nothing against Kevin Owens, but I agree. I think, putting him front and center with the belt right now is probably not the move they're going to make. So.
Well, it's not for the belt, but it is a high headliner match. I know what you're saying.
I mean,
so.
I mean, I agree with what you guys said. It all makes sense, and but so what? I don't like it. I want Owens to win.
I want Owens to win too. I'm just thinking logically. I think
one of the nicest people that we've met.
That's cool.
So that was super cool last year to meet him, and I'm like, wow, okay. I wasn't expecting him to be that cool. Super cool guy. And I just like his work ethic and his promos and everything about it. And I like that he's not that cookie cutter of the next, wrestler. So.
Oh, I agree.
And I would also like to point out when they have this many matches and this many belts, it's almost impossible because it's like at this point, like, oh wait, this isn't a title match. Oh yeah, that's right. They got so much to keep track of here. It's like it's getting it's all getting lost in the shuffle, I think. So
Right.
Yeah.
On any other card, this might be a main event, but since there's so many matches over 2 days, it's like,
yeah,
it kind of it is getting lost, even though they put a lot of attention on it. So, all right, and then we have what's up next?
Next up, Mark Calloway versus Alan Jones. Oh wait, excuse me, The Undertaker versus AJ Styles. So no, they were in their promos. They were getting real personal and breaking the fourth wall and using shoot names and stuff.
Yeah, for me, Undertaker promo from this past week, best promo I've ever seen. Undertaker is not known for having good promos. I mean, he has a great gimmick, but he just does not do really good promos. And this was okay, like you said, breaking that fourth wall. I'm a fan of breaking the fourth wall. I think it was really great, awesome promo, and I think that promo right there just bumped that card up a notch or two for me. It made it feel like it was like a co-main event or something.
Yeah. What do you mean Undertaker doesn't have good promos? You get to watch him walk to the ring for 6 minutes, shine a spotlight on him, go, rest in peace, and then it's over.
So. Yeah, well, like I said, the promo helped bring it up there. What they've been doing with AJ, kind of having him flounder with the club. When they first did the club, I was super excited. Hey, are you going to try to do some of this Bullet Club stuff here? And then it just is a total flop. So I wasn't really excited, and I'm a huge AJ Styles fan. I think he's the best talent that they have right now, and they just kind of don't utilize him because he doesn't fit the mold of that big guy. But it should be an interesting match.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that, he's been champion 3 times, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's I think with him is they know he's reliable, and they kind of rotate him out because he can work with anybody. I mean, let's be honest, they try and keep the belt to certain people, whereas AJ's going to get a great match out of Undertaker. I mean, I think that's safe. It's probably going to probably rival Shawn Michaels' match with him, and Undertaker's going to win, in my opinion. I mean, it's Undertaker.
Well, this is a boneyard match, so it does
whatever that means. But
what does that mean?
Undertaker doesn't lose his gimmick matches, right? So that's
well,
AJ is the one that called for it, so we don't even know what it is. I'm assuming it's in a cemetery of some sort.
That's what I was saying. It's going to be some weird, but I don't know if they would want to do that with an AJ Styles match.
It could be a junkyard, because usually they call junkyards boneyards for car parts. So
yeah, that's true.
It wouldn't be the first time there's been a wrestling match in a junkyard. Does anyone remember that from WCW, where there was like 15, 20 guys in the junkyard? And
yeah, that ended Fit Finley's career, didn't it?
No, he came to WWE after that.
Yeah, for a while though. Remember, he had nerve damage, I think, from that match. Yeah,
I think Regal, did he win that one?
He was never in the hardcore division in WCW. He was gone by then.
I'll have to look into.
Yeah, he was working for the European title in 2000. God, how do I know this stuff?
Okay, so
Undertaker.
You guys both have Undertaker.
RJ, I'm assuming you're probably on the same page with that. So
yeah, I don't see Undertaker not winning at WrestleMania. So
as much as I like AJ Styles, I don't think you have AJ win. He's not built up enough.
He doesn't need to. He's AJ. He can work anybody, and they know what they're. He's a star. He doesn't need it.
I don't think they want the controversy of somebody else beating Undertaker at WrestleMania. I mean, like Brock Lesnar has that. I don't think Lesnar is going to be like, he has the win over Undertaker at WrestleMania.
And so does Roman Reigns.
And Roman Reigns.
Oh.
And that was terrible. Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, that was horrible.
It's my yard now.
My commentary.
No, but that's the problem. Is it's so meaningless you don't remember it.
That's true.
Yeah. As long as it's like you said, one like the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. So what? Undertaker won at the end. That was an epic, iconic match, right?
Yeah,
there.
that was the career ender with the boots and everything, and here we are. So why even bother to do that, right? So,
but that's also a factor too. I think since last WrestleMania, Undertaker's had the hip surgery, so he's probably doing a lot better now, where he can move again. So he was in pretty rough shape from last WrestleMania, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong on the dates because I'm old and I'm got gray hair, but he's been in better shape, I think, too. And plus, I mean, it wasn't his last match against Goldberg.
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
the Saudi
that
show. So
was a rough one to watch. But it's in a boneyard. You're not going to see, suplexes and all this other stuff that he has to land on his hip all that much. So
sponsored by Cialis. So
there we go. All right, so we all have Undertaker for that one.
I think that's a safe bet. So
Okay. And then what do you have next?
Next up is a fatal 5-way elimination match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley defends against Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina.
Now, is this an elimination match? I thought I heard that it was going to be elimination.
I just said that.
What's that?
Fatal five-way elimination match. That's what it says.
All right.
That may change, but that's what it's listed officially on all the promo material has said. So
Okay.
I think just for the lulls, they're gonna have Tamina win because she's terrible. So
You think so? Huh. Someone that wasn't even scheduled to really be in the match when this first came up. There was Carmella and Dana Brooke, and Carmella's staying home, and
Dana Brooke pulled out because she was feeling ill. So
right. So that's why they kind of put Tamina in there. So
or they're gonna have a surprise appearance by what's her name? The big girl.
Nia Jax.
Thank you. God, couldn't remember her name. Sorry, complete brain fart there. Again, the gray hair. She might make a surprise appearance too. And if she pops in the match, she'll probably go over for the belt because she's been gone a year now. She had, I think, the double quad surgery or something.
Okay.
So,
RJ,
I just see your eyes are completely glazed over.
I don't see Naomi. Maybe Lacey, not ready. She had that that match with Bayley, and it was not that good. And I'm not just saying that because she read me the riot act last time. Me and my son were out the arena and pretty much, ripped us a new one. Justified she was.
Yeah, there's two ways I could see something like that going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you were,
yeah, you just totally cut me off.
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh,
Thanks for keeping me on track here. Tamina, good worker, no charisma, nothing. Bayley, maybe, or do they do the Sasha Banks turn on her? And
I hope not.
That's been done 500,000 times already. So
yeah.
Okay, go ahead, RJ.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that like they do one of two things here: is either they use this to kind of keep the belt on the person this type of match. They use it to legitimize the person with the belt, or do an unexpected title change where somebody comes in that's not expected and walks away with it because they want to go in a completely different direction. So there'll be one or the other.
That would be my guess. Is probably going to be somebody you're not seeing. Yeah,
that would be cool. Okay.
All right, so then next up is John Cena versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, in a Firefly Fun house match. If I may interject, I think that John Cena is probably going to put over The Fiend. I think probably from a few years back. I think he's kind of in that giving stage of his career now where he's, obviously not full-time and he's semi-retired and he's going to right the wrong of him kind of ending Bray Wyatt's momentum back then, I think is a safe bet. Just my opinion.
Yeah, Cena doesn't need it. Wyatt definitely needs it after that horrible Goldberg match.
Yes. That was the wrong move, but
yeah, the closing out of SmackDown yesterday, that was fairly entertaining with the puppets and stuff around the ring and having Wyatt or having the Fiend on that balcony, and then all of a sudden Bray Wyatt's behind, John Cena. That was kind of cool. That was, but my only fear here is they've done matches like this with Wyatt where it's been on a location with the house with Orton and stuff like that. And it always comes off. It never comes off really all that well. So that's my only fear of this one.
Yeah.
My hope is they film it like a Bloom there where it just doesn't look like there's this third guy with a camera following these two guys through this. Film it like a horror movie or something like that. Like actually give it, instead of just being like this third person perspective of like whatever's going on, like actually have it filmed and edited like a horror movie and give something completely different, because then you can play the Cena's wanting to get into acting, like if he can play along with that, and then also with Bray Wyatt having his it's his match. I mean, why would he lose it? You know, it's kind of, I never really fully understood that. So, but yeah, Cena's definitely that point of like, he's the guy to bring in to try and get people over now because there's nothing else he can do. I mean,
Yeah.
Was he like 25-time champion and stuff like that? Like, what
win
are
does
you going to
nothing
do?
for him. A loss does nothing for him. So, yeah. Okay. So we're all in agreement on that one.
Okay. All right. Then I guess we're all saying Fiend over. All right. So we're hitting the top 4 matches now, the 4 big matches.
4 more.
I know. We're not even watching them.
They
exhausted.
needed to do it over 2 nights, I think. Yeah.
All right. So then we've got the singles match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch defends it against Shayna Baszler.
Shayna. She had the big win last year. So.
Again, she does not, unless I wouldn't waste Ronda Rousey interfering on this match and setting up something with Becky because there's no crowd, but I could maybe see that happening. But other than that, I don't know. She's dry. She's just so dry of a character. I don't know. And Becky was kind of getting a little stale here. I will say that whole semi that she's been driving in, that's kind of badass. That's I think that's going to go down just like the Stone Cold with the beer truck.
It worked for Diesel, so.
Did it? You know, but
there's your thumbnail.
You know, seeing this late, and she was actually driving it on Monday. You could actually see her in the driver's seat. It was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So glad
because we know anybody that's in the driver's seat, there's no way they could possibly be driving.
No, yeah.
They've got hornswoggle on the pedals, so shifted and accelerated.
So I don't know. It's probably going to be Baszler, but I would just put Becky on that one. I would have liked to see a better opponent for Becky than Baszler.
I think you have to look at it historically and see how many people that won the championship the year before retain it at the next WrestleMania if they still have it. You know, it's like, and again, I don't know if she's
like
had
Cena,
it
like
time,
Cena. That's really about it.
Yeah, she's had it.
Or Hogan, you know, obviously. So I think Becky's going to retain. I think she sells merchandise. If there's going to be any interference by Ronda Rousey, I think it might be against Shayna Baszler because she wants her spot. You know, like she's taking her spot type thing.
I couldn't beat Becky last year. Now I'm going to make sure you don't, kind of thing.
And they're all friends, so you know.
Yeah, I think a bigger payoff down the road is Becky versus Ronda for the belt 1-on-1.
Yep,
I think that's a moneymaker right there. Everybody wants to see Ronda come back.
And Shayna Baszler's been defeated in NXT. She got beaten by Rhea Ripley, right, for the belt?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like she has that undefeated factor, you know. So, I mean, now that NXT is kind of the third brand, it's not like the developmental anymore.
I'll call it DQ finish. We haven't had that yet. So
DQ finish. It's going to be something screwy.
I don't know. I kind of see this as one of the main events for one of the nights. So I don't think you end the night on a DQ finish. So.
Yeah, I don't think this will be the last match of the night, but it's one of the main events. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I guess we've got 2 for Baszler, one for Becky, right? Or am I misreading the room here?
I have Becky.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. So
2 for Becky. 1 for Baszler.
I'm not invested. I could see it going either way. So
sure.
I just figure she's going as champ, she'll lose. So I would say I lean more Shayna, but what do I know?
All right. Then next up, we've got the singles match for the WWE Universal Championship. Goldberg defends the title against Braun Strowman, subbing for Roman Reigns.
Short match.
Yeah, very short.
Less than 5 minutes.
Well, here's a question: Do they go spear? Goldberg can't jackhammer. I mean,
maybe.
Does he retain? They're not. I don't think they're going to have Strowman just destroy him because why bring in Goldberg if you're going to do that? So it's like, no, I don't know. I really don't know what to say on this one.
I think they're holding out for Roman versus Goldberg for some reason. So, and for some reason, they just will not pull the trigger on Strowman. I don't know what it is. I mean, he did start out very green a couple years ago, but he's improved. He's a decent promo. He's got the size, he's got the look, but for some reason they just will not pull the trigger on him. So Goldberg to retain.
Yeah. I think it would have to be fast because, as we learned when he took on Undertaker, that he can't. He doesn't have the endurance to go long and pull. Like if you want Goldberg to jackhammer Braun Strowman, it has to happen in the first minute of the match, or it will never happen. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I just don't think if Goldberg's out there wrestling for 10 minutes with Braun Strowman, he's going to be too winded to be able to even get him up at that point. So it's probably going to be spear, jackhammer, awful jackhammer, and
awful jackhammer.
Well, Strowman's huge.
Yes.
If you want Goldberg, if Goldberg hasn't been sitting for about the past month, trying to flip
like a shake
over
weight
his head, he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
For me, I would actually have. I don't think with the match the way it was originally going to go. I think Roman was probably going to walk away with the belt versus Goldberg, and I wouldn't change it. I would say, hey, Strowman, here's your shot. If you want to do the Goldberg spear versus spear match later on, once this gets back running and you got a good crowd, have that be the #1 contender match to see who fights Strowman. I think give him the shot and see what he does with it. I think a lot of people might not expect that.
Yeah.
Can I point out how awkward it is right now that we're in the year 2020 and the two guys with the belts are Lesnar and Goldberg when they were the beep show of WrestleMania in 2002 or something like that.
2004.
Or whatever. Yeah. And I mean, it's
I know.
It's weird.
It is weird. Like the whole title scene is just odd. I'm not sure why, but
yeah. All right, so that's down to the last 2 matches then.
All right, so then we've got Brock Lesnar defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre.
Okay, and what's the other match that we still have to talk about?
The NXT Women's Championship match.
Let's go with that one first.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going in order.
I know. We're gonna switch. I was waiting. I'm like,
okay,
looking at my list here.
Rhea
That's
Ripley.
Wikipedia for you.
I don't know why they do that, why they have it that way, but that's the way they do. Rhea Ripley defends the NXT Championship against Charlotte Flair.
I'm excited for this match. This one could be, pretty good. What do you guys think?
I think Charlotte Flair going over for it does absolutely nothing.
That's why it'll happen.
Well, I mean, she was the women's champion, top of the main card women's game, putting her over for the NXT title. The only way you do that is if you're trying to bring NXT up to the level of Raw and SmackDown. So if they're if they're going to try and make that the third show instead of just the other show, then I could see them doing it. But I don't know. I just doesn't seem to do anything. It doesn't make sense unless they got ulterior motives. So.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, like I said at the beginning of this video, definitely making them the third show, especially with the Wednesday night wars going on right now. I think you have to bring them up and do that. And I think Flair winning and maybe going to NXT for a little bit, that might work. Or you got to if you're going to have Ripley win, you got to do something very creative here. There has to be I know she's, the face going into this, but there has to be some sort of something here if she's going to win. I don't see how they can have her win this match.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point. I just, I think it's safe to say just because of who she is, Charlotte Flair is going to go over. For some reason, I know the reason, but she's always winning because of who her father is. So, just my opinion. So, I know the quality. I don't know if you guys, the quality went garbage for me here. I don't know if it did for you guys as well. So,
no, I asked everybody, so I might want to reiterate what you just said because I barely heard anything. So,
okay.
Yeah, it did come through over the microphone, but your guys' video was kind of lagging a little bit.
Well, as long as you heard it, that's fine then. So.
Charlotte Flair goes over trying to legitimize NXT. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's really hard for Flair. She has the name behind her.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think she has the
She
talent.
didn't.
What's that?
She didn't. She didn't have it at the start, and then they decided she wasn't getting over, so they had to put her. She was trying not to do that at the beginning. So
very talented lady, very nice.
Good. Absolutely.
You know, every time we've seen her, she's definitely, you know, she'll stay there and meet with the fans and talk with them and stuff like that. So very nice lady. You know, I just think since she has that name, there's that extra spotlight put on her, and you have to be on the top of your game every single time. And I do think she gets a little extra pushes and breaks because of her name. But I just don't see at the, you know, the WrestleMania how you have Rhea Ripley. I don't know. I kind of would have liked to see Bianca Belair added to the match and have it be a triple threat. Then I think you could have, you know, done something different. But then again, then you got Charlotte in the same boat she was in last year.
Yeah.
So I can see why they didn't do that.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. So now we are on to Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar.
For the championship. Take it away.
Well, since it's your show, why don't you give us your opinion first, and then we'll follow you up. You get the main event.
I get the main event. Okay. You know, we all know Drew has the talent. His promos have been getting better.
He's the chosen one or whatever.
Yeah, you know, I hate when they do that. You know, Roman Reigns a couple years was the chosen one. 1 year after the fans wanted him to be the chosen one. At that point, it was like, you're late.
Well, now I don't want him.
Yeah, now we don't want him.
Drew, but Drew's the chosen one that never got it. That was like 15 years ago.
That's true. I would like to see Drew walk away with it. Lesnar, I don't know. He's Lesnar.
You know what you're getting with him.
You know what you're getting, yeah. I could see it literally going either way on this one, but I would like to see Drew walk away with it.
I agree. I think just for the amount of, you know, Lesnar's on a per appearance deal, and they've been burning through a lot of those lately. I think they're going to put it on McIntyre, because I do think that even though with all the unknowns going on right now with the beer flu, I think that moving the strap is the right time. There's no reason not to put it on him. He left. He was floundering. He left the WWE. He went overseas, made a huge name for himself, and then he came back and he's better than ever. And he is huge. I never realized how big he is. He is a big dude. He towers. No, but he's tall. But he did get jacked. Not like the I ate all my salads and have back knee now jacked. But you know, he's improved himself. Not too many people say that, or can show that, I should say. And who would ever thought, you know, 5 years ago would be saying that two members of the three-man band are in the running for the championship.
Best things that ever happened to him.
Heath Slater's got to be like, oh my life.
Next year for Heath, he's got it next year.
Yeah, right. It's if they're going to pull the trigger on Drew McIntyre, now is the time.
WrestleMania next year, Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal in the main event.
Oh God.
So I don't know. I don't see why they wouldn't put it on Drew McIntyre. I just feel bad for him. Like it's a pity title win. Like I feel like I just feel bad for him, even though he's getting the title. It's like, why does it have to be during this? Like it's like the guy's cursed to some degree. It's like I finally get to that point, and I'm going to win the biggest match of my career, and nobody's going to see it. You know,
well,
and then
they're
going to hold it against them.
Not live.
You know what I mean.
They might do some shenanigans and do a DQ or something, and then the next time they have a live event with a crowd, maybe they'll do it then. But
I think Brock Lesnar is wearing out his welcome for sure. I think that they probably see. Here's the thing, and this is where when you mentioned earlier, Devin, about the the politics and just being a fan and everything like that. If this were just writing for story's sake and there was no other factors, I would say there'd be no reason to not put over Drew McIntyre. I'm almost contrarian on that because I think Vince's ultimate goal right now is he wants to keep as many people away from AEW as possible. And I think that's why Goldberg is here. I think that's why, he will probably keep the belt on Brock Lesnar as long as he possibly can, even if Brock Lesnar is being a terror backstage, from what it sounds like. Well, because I think a lot of these guys know now that they can kind of do whatever they want because Vince isn't going to let anybody go. Because if Vince lets them go, they jump over to AEW, and AEW becomes more competition for Vince. So I think we're in a weird place right now where a lot of these guys are going to have free reign over themselves. And I think Brock Lesnar right now is probably saying, I don't want to lose. I'm not dropping the belt. So I don't know. I mean, like, could we see a WrestleMania where Brock Lesnar walks in the ring, throws a bell at Drew McIntyre, and walks off? Who knows? I mean, like, I'm at that point where I won't even rule something like that out at this point in time. What are they going to do? Get him to come back and refilm it? Like, there's nothing you can do about something like that right now. Or you go and you edit it out and say Brock Lesnar didn't blah, 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 and you substitute somebody else in for, you know what I mean? Like, it's really weird where we're at right now. But I think that, I don't know what the contracts are like, but I would say you could have beat Drew McIntyre and do it in a completely unexpected way, and have Drew McIntyre come back later and actually get his win in front of a crowd. So I don't know. I could go either way on this one, but if I had to say, I would think Vince would, especially if we're going into the possibility of WWE having to go on hiatus, I think Vince is going to want Brock Lesnar because he's internationally known. I think he's going to still want that belt sitting over Lesnar's shoulder going into whatever's happening right now. So I think I would edge out right now Lesnar over McIntyre.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have 2 for Drew, 1 for Lesnar. I would say in my fantasy book, and I know it's not going to happen. I know Vince McMahon hates a few wrestlers, and he said he'll never work with them. And it would have been so great to somehow have a CM Punk Brock Lesnar match. Yeah, I said it. I can't go one video without CM Punk. He should have been in the match. I think that would have been, especially if there was fans in front of a huge crowd. I think having CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar, 2 Paul Heyman guys going at it, could have been pretty interesting. It didn't happen. It's not going to happen, but
yeah,
I just think it would have been
more. Or CM Punk is the reason the end of the match goes however it goes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're swerving us at, hey, he said he's never going to, work with CM Punk. Maybe it's a whole swerve. That would be, I think, one of the biggest shocks. So
sure,
we'll see.
Never say never.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and speaking of CM Punk, I mean, let's wrap up this video. What's up with them ice cream bars? I heard that they're coming back.
I found some. I did.
You found some of the ice cream bars.
I picked some up, and they're not the same.
They're not the same.
No, they're just.
Did they look like the Spider-Man ice cream bar?
They're just a square, and they're just vanilla flavored ice cream sandwich. They're not the same. It's so sad.
Well, there you go, people. We're gonna end on a sour note here.
Vince didn't want to pay for the
that are coming out,
and I know food.
They are just not the same. So
they're not the same. So disappointing.
We're gonna wrap this video up. We've been at this for a little bit, and if you guys are still watching, good job, you guys, because this is probably a long video. So, we'll shoot.
Kudos to you. Gold stars for everybody.
Yeah, kudos. You must really like us.
Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. More riveting content coming at you in the future.
Yeah, more videos like this in the future. We'll also be doing just a recap tomorrow, so that would be a short.
You don't want to chase people away here.
Well, we might want to wait till after both nights of WrestleMania, but I guess you do 1 and 1. Whatever.
Yeah,
you're the boss.
Then they're a little bit shorter video and stuff like that. So you get a little extra with us today. We share some insight and some stories and kind of went over the card. So I think it's pretty cool that now this is done being recorded. We can look back on it, show our family, show our friends,
and cringe.
Definitely. I don't like watching myself on video, so these videos are always hard for me to do. But again, thank you guys. We're gonna wrap this up here. Thanks.
Everybody's looking at me the whole time.
Thanks, RJ. Maybe on your screen. On mine, it shows all 3 of us. So I'm gonna.
Thanks, Fate. Thanks, RJ.
All right, and we are again. Thank you guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share. See you next time.